It's funny how that works, man. As you get older, perception of time, years start to go by fast. Fish on! Oh. Guys, what's up? Thanks for checking out the video. Welcome to Keeping It Real Fishing. You're looking at the full summary of Swimbait Fishing the Northeast. If you guys have stumbled across this video and if you haven't seen the others, it's part of a series. I have dedicated this entire year, this is 2015 right now, and I had this grand experiment idea. As a Northeast angler, can I apply the big bait theory, the big bait philosophy that a lot of these guys have been doing on the West Coast for many years, catching monsters? Is that applicable here? Now, of course, you know you can throw the big bait, but what are my results going to be? Am I going to be spinning my wheels? Am I going to end up with some monster fish? You know, what's the outcome going to be? And there was only one way to find out, guys. So in 2015, I dedicated the entire year, from start to finish, to big baits. Primarily swim baits. I'd say probably about 75 to 80% of what I've been using is large swim baits, but also just big baits in general. And actually went over that in one of the previous recaps. I think it was the last one in summer. Whereas I don't like leaving any stone unturned. So I've just been throwing big everything, whether it's a monster jig or even monster crankbaits. If I'm throwing something, it's been big. So right now is the day after Thanksgiving. It's November 27th. We have a beautiful day here in New Jersey, in the lower 60s today. That's great, you know, right on the heels of December. And so I'm out here hoping for the best, working those lures really slow, hoping for a monster. I got some 5s this year, I got some 6s this year, which are great catches for the East Coast and New Jersey. And now I'm getting a little greedy. Now I'm kind of done with 5 and 6s. I want to hit the next numeric category, and I'm gunning for a 7. I want a 7 so bad, or an 8, you know, or anything higher. But that's why, guys, out here today trying to get it in. Anyway, guys, gonna summarize the fall. I got a few good fish in the fall, and then also just a basic summary of this thing that I've done, of just dedicating an entire year to swimbait fishing here in the Northeast. So, got 2 hours of light left. The sun is waning right now. Let's take it onto the water, take it out there, and just give you a little bit more information on how the fall went and what I've observed, and you know, basically this year as a whole, and how it all went down. What's up, guys? Keeping it real fishing. What's up, guys? Keeping it real fishing. December 5th. It's a nice day out. Hey everybody, what's up? It's Keeping It Real Fishing here. Hey, a school of 5-pound plus fish would be, you know, mind explosion. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the fall portion of the year, fishing these big swim baits here in the Northeast. So, what was my plan of attack? Well, I was not trying to reinvent the wheel, I'll tell you that much. You know, guys, there's really no reason to do anything different. If you have a basic working knowledge of what bass do in the fall, at least on the waters that you fish, apply the same thing, just with the larger baits. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I always read and heard, and you know, all my research on bass fishing, is that what happens in the fall, right? At least on lakes where it gets cold, we have the turnover, right? Heavy, cold water is going to trade places with warmer, insulated water. When that happens, fish don't like it. Oxygen levels kind of go haywire, and just everything, even the water physically gets murkier. fish that were in a nice comfortable spot, they had their location, they get displaced because they're just, you know, again, a lot of this stuff revolves around oxygen levels. So the turnover happens. The other thing is you just have a lot of sediment, things being kicked up. You have a lot of, all the plants are dying. You even have leaves coming into the water. And on the waters here that I fish, I see that reflected in the water clarity. Water that was pretty clear has now gotten pretty murky. So what happens in murky water, guys? What do bass like to do? You know, they like to be next to something. Bass don't like to just aimlessly be in the middle of nowhere when they can't see. If it's clear water, that's one thing. They still are a viable hunter in clear water. But when it's dark and dingy, it's almost like us. You know, if you're in a completely pitch black room, do you want to be right in the middle of it and you can't feel anything? Or do you want to have your back against the wall? Do you want a point of reference? I think most creatures are like this, even like mice. You know how mice run along the edge of a wall? They don't run right through the middle of a room. Creatures like a reference point, particularly bass here in this murky water. They like to be next to something. And also, it gives them a point of ambush, right? They're still hidden on one side or more, depending on what it is they're hiding next to, and it's a viable place for them to leap out and get that food. So that's what I've been doing, guys. Same thing that I would do with traditional fishing, is I've been fishing hard structure. That being like right here, we have trees, laydowns, submerged forest, stumps. Depends what you have in your lake. If you have some substantial docks that offer some pretty good cover, maybe rock pilings, even rock walls, but something that the bass could be next to. Again, this all depends on your water clarity. If you're in gin clear water, this isn't so much of a big deal. But if you get that turnover, which also brings about murky water, this is a good thing to consider, is to fish really, really close next to physical hard structure. The other thing that I was doing, and this is kind of the complete opposite idea, but I was looking for a grass that was still alive. And in areas where I found very green, vibrant grass that was still, you know, holding on, I was also noticing, as should come as no surprise, that there was bait fish there. These are the few areas I was still able to look down and see sunnies and minnows and herring and other things. When I couldn't see it, I would see it on my sonar. And grass beds that were still alive later into the fall are very viable, just like they are the rest of the year. And even more so, because when most of the grass beds start dying off, based on the particular temperature gradients of the lake, you know, a couple degrees can make a difference for that plant. So in areas where most of the grass is now gone, but you have a couple areas where it's still very alive, guess what? That becomes a concentration zone. Everybody wants to be there. It still has oxygen. Everybody's still hiding there. It's still a party place. The bait fish are going to come. The bass are still going to bite. And that's where I got some of my best fish this year. So on that note, guys, let's take a look at some of those catches. Right here is going to be a nice 6-pound fish just coming right over a weed flat. And then the other catch, what's the other clip I got there? We got the 6 on the weed flat, and I'm going to have to annotate it, guys. I can't think of which one I'm going to roll in. But right now we're going to roll in a couple of these nice fall fish that I've gotten this year.
It was like perfect opportunity. I guess the birds were just chilling on the bushes and eating bugs or whatever.
And the bass were keying in on it, huh?
Yep.
They were like, hey, this is the best deal we got going.
He won the tournament like that on the last day of the tournament.
Who has a bird lure with them? I've seen some in the swimbait world, but it's like they're all handmade. And
there's the flipping the bird one.
yeah, that's kind of, well, yeah, that looks like a bird, sure. It's like kind of like on the frog. Basically, is a frog, just with the skirts looking like a bird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flipping the bird.
Pretty crazy though. I guess they'll...
There we go. Fish on. Fish on. Can you get the camera for me, dude?
Camera?
Yeah. Just hit on and then the red button.
The movie button? Huh?
Yeah, the red button on the back.
Record?
Yeah. Woo! Woo! Here we go, guys. On the East Coast, New Jersey stud. On the hard gill. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. It's a quality fish right there. Usual grind, guys. Been fishing most of the day. Just one tip. That's what you're looking for, you know? Looking for that one bite a day, that's what you're trying to get. Another quality fish. Cool. See it there? It's on that ultimate full-size gill. Just in the corner of the mouth. Just barely at him. Right, survey says a 6-pound fish. Just cleared on my end. It was 6 7/8. I'll have to show you from the other view. Got that high accuracy scale, goes down to fractions of an ounce. That's the third New Jersey 6-pound fish on a swim bait. Guys, I never caught a 6-pound fish in my life. I only caught 2 5-pound fish in all my years prior. We're looking at 5 5-pound fish and now 3 6-pound fish, and we still got the whole fall to go. Do swim baits work? Nice. Woo! On the HUD, baby. Come here, baby. Ooh. Oh, baby. Start of fall. The start of fall. Maybe a dozen casts in. Huddleston, 8-inch. Rate of fall 5, weedless. Look at that quality, East Coast, New Jersey. That's a solid fish right there, guys. Gonna give it to you on the hat cam angle. He thumped it. I missed a couple last week. I swung on him too early and they didn't take it all the way down. I said, let them. They get that double chew, you know. This doesn't have an exposed hook. If they want it, they're going to keep it down. They're not going to spit it up. You guys could see. Man, I tell you. Just so excited, guys. It's been since the end of spring that I've got a fish like this, and I've only been here about a half hour. Look at that. Beautiful. Let's get some pictures and a weight on this girl. Here we go, guys. This is no problem for a fish like that. Just a nice little snack. Alright, we're zeroed. Here we go. 6'5" and 5/8. Almost the same exact size as the other fish. 6'5" and 5/8. Alright, that's it. I was hoping that was going to be 7. She's solid, but not too fat yet, but swimbait fishing, guys. Swimbait fishing in the fall. I'm just starting. This is just the start of the season. Summer was slow, but looking for some more of these and hopefully to crack 7. Let's let her go. Look how big she looks in the water. Nice broad shoulders. Now the water levels have dipped. You could see where it normally comes up to. You can see the line where the bushes start. The water level's been pretty low this year, so normally it's about, well, 4 feet higher, 4.5, or whatever it is from the water line to where those base of those bushes are. All the rocky areas normally submerged, but you could see that how it declines, that angle, and that continues, and that continues for a ways. So we're gonna fish this here. And the idea behind fishing these walls is pretty simple, is bass like to have the upper hand, and they want to feel like they can pin something. I didn't make that cast too close because I'm actually noticing some weeds right where the rocks meet the water. But the whole idea is I want to make it seem like this trout that I'm fishing doesn't have all angles of escape. At least going this way, he's pinned. He can't turn that way to go anywhere because he's got a big wall that for whatever reason he's decided to just swim parallel against, making him a semi-easy target. Bass like that. This is just kind of, this works for any lure. And Bill Seamantel, he has good books and videos, and obviously he's a guru on this. He calls it Spider-Man. You can Spider-Man a lure. He uses it on like dams if you have like a true flat structure, like a man-made structure. And the idea is, I mean, literally to put that lure within like 6 inches of a physical wall. And I can't come quite that close here because I will just be dragging it on some rocks. But I want to put it within a couple feet and give any prospective bass the idea that this fish, this trout, is just out of his mind. He's more shallow than he should be, swimming along kind of nonchalantly, and he doesn't have one of his angles of escape. That's the idea. You put all those things together, and you know, sometimes it works out, and that big bass says, "Ah, that's what I've been waiting for." Perfect, perfect. It would be great if it actually played out while I was saying it, right? Unlikely. Alright, so here's where I want to be. The wind is going to kick me this way, so I need to anchor out that way. This is 9 feet of water, plenty of weeds down there. And then there's the drop. Wow, from 9 it just plummets to 20. Okay, so we need some more rope. I am where I want to be. I'm anchored in 19 19 feet of water, 19 and a half. But just 10 feet that way is 8 feet, so there's a super huge drop off there. That's what I was referencing. Wasn't quite as close to that wall as I thought. And we're gonna fish this right here. We're gonna kind of parallel this. See what's going on. This is the rate of fall 12. Oh, looks like I got a buzzard who's interested in my trout. Fish on. Stay down. Stay down. Stay down. He's either not. Either a small one or he just ain't pulling that hard. Swallowed it. There we go. Well guys, that paid off. Paralleling that bank. That's the rate of 412. This is a short fish, but it's got a hell of a belly on him. Take a look at the hack cam here. That's that 8-inch Huddleston, weedless, doing it again. This is actually the same exact bait, the one that I caught my first fish on. First Hud fish, and that was in the April. I just tied him back on. That's a really short fish. I'd say that guy's maybe only about 19 inches, but look at the way he swallowed that thing entirely. Small mouth too. I mean, look at the size of my thumb. This guy's got a very small mouth. But he hammered it fully, and there we go. Beautiful. Take a couple pictures, get the bait out. Nice, quality fish. Probably 4 and change. We'll get a weight on her. Survey says 4.2. 4.2. No such luck on another 5-pounder, but still nice solid fish. Really all in the belly. She's been eating a lot. Fish probably isn't even 20 inches, maybe 19, 20. Here you go, girl. About to check out here at the end of the fishing season. This popped into my head and it was very valuable to me, so I want to give it to you guys as well. A powerful thing that can help keep you in the game mentally as a big bait angler, interestingly, is followers. All right, they could be frustrating, and I know you want them to bite, but one of the interesting things about these large lures, like these big 8-inch trouts, and even some of the smaller 6 and 7 ones, but things like the trout and like those big depths 250 slide swimmers, stuff like that, they have tremendous drawing power. They're easily seen. They put out this giant presence in the water, unlike any other lures. And even if fish aren't willing to bite them, they're just interested. They just come up and they like the name says, they follow them. And so, like I said, while it could be a little frustrating not to get those bites, one of the things that I didn't anticipate was how much that helped me mentally was seeing those followers. I had one instance earlier in the year at a very clear water lakes, and this is really where you get the followers in the clear water because they could see it from a distance. I had a monster. The fish that I'm looking for. I've caught some 5 and 6s, which I'm very proud of, and they're great New Jersey fish, but they're not like lifetime trophy fish. Lifetime trophy for here, like East Coast, would be like, I'd say 7, or for me, I really want to catch an 8-pound fish. And I think that's exactly what I saw. Because now, having seen multiple 4s and 5s and even those 6s, I saw something so much larger. I mean, not just a little bit, but so much larger that, you know, I almost had a heart attack. But the point is that seeing those followers, even if it's an average size follower, it lets you know you're doing something right. You're in the right area, right? That you're in the area where the fish are. There is a fish, he's interested in your lure, you're putting on something that's garnered their attention. And so it's like everything about that situation is right, except that fish just wasn't willing to bite. Now, sometimes you can elicit that strike. You can work the lure a little erratically, depending on what type of lure it is. You can kind of do different things out there. But when it comes down to the fact that you're getting it close to the boat and you see you have that follower who's not going to bite, yeah, I understand the frustration bias, but it's a very powerful mental tool on a number of fronts. One is it charges you up, particularly if it's a monster, and you are going to see some monsters just following it. You know, you're going to have those slow days where you don't get a strike. You may even go a couple trips where you don't get a strike. But to see a huge fish follow it right to the boat, to be within inches of your lure, it gets you going. And if there was any doubts, if you were starting to question doing this, you are back in the game because you just saw the goal. You just saw the end game, and now you are set to go out there and to pursue that fish. Another thing is, you now know roughly where that fish is. Bass don't travel miles per day. So when you're in those areas and those fish follow, right, regardless of the size fish, whether it's that trophy or even the average size fish, you know, hey, I'm in the right area. There's fish here. He didn't strike, or he or she didn't strike today, but let this area cool down. I'll come back a little bit later. Maybe I'll come back with a different lure, but they've shown themselves. And that's like them showing their hand in cards. That is a valuable, valuable tool, not only for you to come back and catch that fish, but also when you see those huge ones follow you, just to get you going. I mean, it's a story in itself when you see a lifetime fish come within inches of your lure and then turn off. You wish they would have struck, but it just gets you so amped, guys. I remember seeing that, and it's still just like, it's engraved in my my memory now forever. So that's it, guys. That's my other tip, trick, I don't know what you want to call it. But when it gets slow out there and you see those followers, that's a good thing. Don't be too frustrated about it. That's a very good thing. Boom. You know when you got a hit on the Huddleston. There's nothing subtle about it.